for registering for Cal Poly's Cal State Applied Application Workshop for the Fall 2022 application cycle. The purpose of this video is to give an overview of the application process, work through some of the common questions or pain points with the application, and to identify which scenarios may require one-on-one attention from an admissions officer during your workshop. Hopefully this will allow you to get started on your application and to know what areas you need assistance with prior to the workshop. We look forward to seeing you there. To begin your application, navigate to the Cal State Applied website and either create an account or sign in if you already have one previously. When creating your account, you'll be asked to enter in your first and last name. Please make sure this is your full legal name and that you don't include any nicknames in this portion. Next, you'll enter in your contact information. We want to draw your attention to the email address. Please select an email address that is neither associated with your current school or used on a personal domain like john@smithfamily.com. We want to go for the ones that are more broadly used like Gmail, Yahoo, etc. This will ensure that your emails continue to reach you throughout the summer and that we don't encounter any firewalls that prevent the emails from getting to you in the first place. After you've selected a username and a password that you're going to keep in a safe place for future reference, answer the remaining questions and hit Save Changes. When first creating your account, it will ask you to select a degree goal. For our first-time freshmen and transfer students, you'll be selecting first bachelor's degree. If you're applying to a master's or grad level program, that's the only instance where you'll be using the second bachelor's degree and beyond. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo does not allow second bachelor's degrees. And then either a graduating high school senior, or transferring with an associate's degree for transfer, or just transferring from a community college or four-year institution. So if I'm a graduating high school senior, I'm going to select this, and then it's going to ask me if I have taken or earned college credits through a community college or university. So if you're doing a running start or a dual enrollment program, or you've just taken college courses on the side, you're going to select yes. If you have not, you'll just hit no. For my transfer students, if you're getting an AST or an ADT, any of those associate's degrees for transfer, you're going to select this option here, and it's going to ask you to identify which college you are attending and which program you're doing. If you're just going to be receiving a regular associate's degree or none at all, you will confirm that you're receiving 60 or more semester credits. Please note that if you will not have 60 semester or 90 quarter units by the end of spring 2022, you will not be eligible for fall 2022. Summer 2022 coursework cannot be used to meet the requirements. If you have less than 60 semester or 90 quarter units, you're technically a lower division transfer, which our campus is not allowed to accept. I'm going to switch my answers back to a graduating high school senior with college credit and proceed. This returning question only applies to students who are returning to the same exact CSU campus to the same exact program they have already been admitted to and previously attended. Answer the military status question, the international applicant question, and when you're doing this for the first time, it will allow you to save your changes and proceed. I'm not changing anything since I'm revisiting this previously created application, so we'll move on. Once you have created your profile, it will prompt you to select a program. That means you're going to find whichever campus you want to apply to and select the major. I find that the easiest way to navigate this page is by using the filters button. You can select by campus and find Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and any other campuses you want to apply to. You'll notice that for our campus, it simply says Cal Poly undergraduate. It doesn't say San Luis Obispo. So if you type that into your search bar up here, our campus will not come up. From here, you can also select an alternate program for our campus. It is not required, but you do need to answer the question and either opt into the program by selecting one or hit the opt out button. If you don't want to select an alternate major, you would hit I am not interested in an alternate program and save this choice. Please note that alternate programs are not guaranteed, but some students do get admitted to their alternate major every year, so if you're going to select one, make sure it is something that you are genuinely interested in studying for 4 years at our campus. Once you've selected all the programs you want to apply to, you will have an option to continue to my application, and this will bring you to the main screen with the 4 quadrants. The first quadrant we'll talk about is the personal information area. This is going to be where you report your biographical and demographics information. Most of it is self-explanatory, but I want to talk specifically about the financial information area for just a second. I'd like to draw your attention to this portion up at the top. Please know that income data reported on this page is used to calculate fee waiver eligibility and is gathered by the CSU for demographic trend tracking. It does not affect your financial aid, nor is it considered in the admissions process. If you have any questions about how to report your information on this page, please reach out to our office. Additionally, if you have any questions about the other tiles in this quadrant, feel free to either bring them up during the workshop, contact our office via phone or email, or you can refer back to our YouTube channel where we have videos that break down each section of the application in greater detail than I'm doing here for this video. The next section we'll look at is the academic history quadrant. You'll begin by entering in your high schools attended. You'll want to include every high school attended. For incoming freshman applicants, it's especially relevant for you to enter in any summer school or online courses that you took. You can do so by clicking Add a High School. I find the easiest way to use this page is to start by state. From there, I type in the name of my school into the search bar. Then you will add in your dates of attendance. For seniors, make sure you navigate forward to 2022 if you're graduating this year. From there, you'll select the term type. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about some unique term type scenarios. For some schools, they offer concurrent term types, meaning some courses are given on a year-long basis, some are on a semester basis. If your school has something similar, you would add in your high school twice with differing term types, and there is a pop-up example here that demonstrates how to add the same school using semester system and the same school using trimester system, or whatever the term type should be. If this applies to you, this is definitely something we're going to want to talk about in the workshop and have an admissions officer check your work. Another thing I want to talk about is schools that use a modified block schedule, where it appears to be a trimester system but is actually a semester system. Here's an example. This school breaks up their school year into 3 sections. However, if I'm only taking English in fall and winter, and I'm only taking chemistry in winter and spring, this is actually a semester system, not a trimester system, even though the year is broken into 3 separate parts. You would only use trimester if you're on a true trimester system where you're receiving 3 grades for a year's worth of credit. If you think this might apply to you, again, bring that up in the workshop and we'll be happy to check your work and talk through those different options and scenarios to make sure it matches your transcript accordingly. I will save this school. If you are attending high school in California and your school has an account with californiacolleges.edu, you can skip the manual entry portion by logging in and connecting your application with your account. This will automatically pull in all of your high school records, coursework, and grades, which will make the next few steps a lot easier. If not, you'll have to do that manually, or potentially a little bit of both. And now all of my high schools are entered, and I can continue on to my graduation status. For most of you as freshmen, you're going to select I will graduate with my high school diploma. You're going to select what high school you're going to be graduating from the menu, and then entering in your grad date. Please note it's going to defer to whatever month and year you're doing the application. So if you're a senior right now and you're graduating this spring, you're going to want to pop down to this next menu and select whatever month you'll be graduating in. Save and continue. Simply answer yes or no. If you answer yes, you can put in the GPA that you received at that school, the name of what that degree would be, but keep in mind that this is not something that's going to be super detrimental. We will likely reach out to you if we need to have a transcript sent over from that international school, but it just kind of helps us know how to file you and process you accordingly. Next, we have the colleges attended tile. For my freshman applicants, if you are doing any sort of dual enrollment or running start program where you're taking classes at your high school but you're getting college credit, you still need to enter in the information for that college that will be issuing your credit, even if you've never actually stepped foot on the campus. For transfer students, obviously you're entering in all of your colleges attended, whether in person or online. Let's do a quick sample. So for this, you'll see the menu is a lot different. You're simply typing in the name of the school. As you type, it will pop up options. You can select it. It'll ask if you're planning to obtain a degree or if you already have. That's going to be your associate's degree, ADT, bachelor's degree, whatever it is, yes or no. It'll ask about the term type for that school. And they're going to ask you if while attending, you paid in-state or out-of-state tuition at that school. And then, of course, your dates of attendance. I'll just kind of make these up real quick. And then if you're still attending, you can click this box here instead of having to select your future dates. Hit save. And then you'll go through and add as many colleges as you've attended. If you ever need to go back and make changes, you can always head to the blue pencil icon there to pop up and make any changes to that entry. Next, we'll work on the high school coursework tile. If you're a transfer applicant, feel free to skip forward until you reach the college coursework section, since you do not need to enter any of your high school coursework. Let's proceed. As you'll see, I've already started entering some grade levels and courses. We also have a separate entry system for summer courses. So you would click here, add in your summer grade level, the school you took this course through, and the academic year. Once you hit this green check arrow, it will save. It will also go in numerical order. So if you entered in something for 12th grade, it will go all the way to the top here. So you will find the school that you entered, and then you can begin entering in your coursework. If you attend a California high school, your coursework will probably auto-populate as you begin to type in. If it's an out-of-state school or not part of the CCGI californiacolleges.edu database, you may have to enter it in manually. And then you'll select your course type. So there's going to be AP, Advanced Placement, IB, Honors. If it's none of those, you're just going to select None. And then select your grade and hit the green check arrow to save. Let's do another one. This time, I'm going to talk about middle school coursework. If you started your math or language and other than English progression in middle school, you are able to add in these courses. You can learn about which courses qualify by clicking the link here in the application. So, for example, we'll go down here at 8th grade. So it's perfectly fine to use your 9th grade school and the earliest year possible. You do not need to enter in your middle school into the application. And then you will type in your course. And if you have your grades, put your grades in. If you don't, you can use pass. You'll see here that I continued on to that second portion of Spanish. Had I repeated Spanish 1-2 in 9th grade, I would no longer be able to use the Spanish course from 8th grade. It's only because I progressed on in the subject area that I'm able to use this course. If your middle school separated Spanish 1 into Spanish 1A and Spanish 1B across 2 years, you need to essentially combine them to only be 1 year of credit. If you think this might apply to your situation, or if you have any questions about using middle school coursework in the application, please bring that up during the workshop. That's definitely something we'll want to go over with you in detail, and perhaps do a screen share in a breakout room to really make sure everything is accurate. Next, let's talk about 12th grade coursework. You do need to put in all of your A through G coursework for 12th grade into the application. You'll put in your fall courses as in progress and your spring courses as planned. If you are taking 1 semester long courses, like how we typically separate out government and econ, will be on different lines, but you'll put in progress for the course that you're taking right now, and then no course for the second half. Firstly, you do no course for that econ in the fall and planned for econ in the spring. So you do want to separate them out because they are separate A through G areas. Next, let's talk about other grade options. You'll notice as you're putting in your coursework that there is an option for pass or no pass. So if your school converted to a pass, no pass, or credit, no credit system, especially in the spring of 2020 due to COVID, rest assured that this is an option you can select here from the drop-down menu, just like that. Next, let's talk about repeated coursework. Let's pretend for a moment that I went to Templeton High School for both 11th grade and 12th grade. I took AP Stats in 11th grade, received a D, and a no pass. Because I have not yet repeated that class and received a higher grade, I have to report both the lower grade and that I'm currently enrolled in it and retaking it. Furthermore, unless you are repeating the same exact class at the same exact school, you do have to report both instances of it. So, for example, if I first took AP Stats at this Beverly Hills High School and received my D, I can retake that class in 11th grade to recoup the year of math coursework. However, I still have to include that lower grade here because it wasn't at the same exact institution. I know this can be confusing. If you have any repeated grade situations, please bring them up in the workshop so we can check your work to make sure that they are reported properly. Other topics that are important to note are if you're using AP or IB test credit in place of coursework to meet the minimum CSU requirements, that's definitely something you want to bring up in the workshop. Also, please make sure you do not enter in any non-A through G coursework into the application. For example, PE courses, health courses, anything that's not on your school's A through G list does not need to be included in the application. If you have any questions about this, again, reach out to our office, bring it up in the workshop. Let's make sure this is correct since this is a huge part of the application and we're not receiving your transcripts to cross-compare or correct it. We're only going to be making our decision based off of what you put in here into the application. So it's essential that it's done correctly. Next, we'll begin on the college coursework tile as it appears for our transfer applicants. I've already started, but we can always go back by clicking Edit. You'll see here that I've entered several terms and begin entering some of my coursework. I'll demonstrate now how to add more. Start by adding a semester. Select the name of this term, the year, your academic status, and then whether those courses are complete or in progress or planned, then the course. If you're in California, these are going to start automatically populating if you're a California community college student. Select the subject area, try to keep it as general as possible, your grade, and then hit save. And then you can continue adding courses from here. Typing in, if they auto-populate, selecting the correct one, double check that course title, add your subject area, double check those credit units, add in your grade received, and save. Next, let's discuss using past test credit to meet your required courses. If you are using AP or IB test credit in place of any courses on your transfer selection criteria, you must enter them into the college coursework section as if they were a class. You do so by entering in AP test credit in place of the course code, the name of the specific test in place of a course title, and select test credit as your subject area. From there, you will enter in 3 credits and CR for credit as the grade. Be sure to select the transferable box for this and all other CSU transferable coursework. Next, if you have repeated the same course at the same institution for a higher grade, you will enter in the first instance of that course with RP as the grade. Then, as long as the course is fully complete at the time you are applying, you are able to enter in the higher grade received. If you took the course at a different institution, an academic renewal was not issued, you will need to report both the lower grade and the new grade. If you have any questions about AP test entry, repeated course entry, or academic renewal, please be sure to bring that up during the workshop so we can tailor our instructions to your specific situation. Please note that you also need to enter in all of the coursework you're currently taking this fall and what you plan to take in winter and spring. As a transfer applicant, you will have the opportunity in January to access this portion of the application to update it with your fall grades and confirm your spring schedule. I would suggest setting a calendar reminder for yourself about this now, since it is required. Once you're done, navigate back to the home screen of college coursework and indicate that you are ready to move forward and save. The next screen a transfer applicant will see is the General Education tile. This is where, as a domestic applicant, you will specify which of your courses you are using to meet each of the GE or Golden 4 requirements. You will be able to select them from a drop-down menu. Please note that you are able to use in-progress and planned coursework in this area. So you'll go through each one and find your A1, A2, and A3 courses. You may find that they have auto-filled for your convenience, but you are able to manually change them if needed. This is also why we had you enter in your AP test credit earlier if you are meeting that requirement via a test score. If your program is one that does not require the completion of critical thinking and you don't have a course, you do have the option of opting out, but if you have the course, please select it. After that, save and proceed. Next, we'll walk through the college coursework section for first-time freshman applicants. It looks pretty similar, but let's demonstrate a few entries. So I find my first college, click Start. Begin by adding your first semester of attendance. Select the term that you attended. If there's summer 1 and summer 2, it's because some schools have 2 summer sessions that they offer. You can pick whichever one is appropriate. Add your course. Again, if you're at a California community college, this should begin to auto-populate like you see here and suggest options as you keep typing. When it comes to your subject areas for these, for first-time freshmen, try to keep it as general as possible and not get too granular with the subjects. It works best that way. After each class, you can hit save and either add a new semester or continuing to add courses to that current semester. It's going to have you select the year. For your status, you can always be freshman. It's really of no consequence, but freshman is what we suggest. And then continue again, typing in like last time, picking your course as it matches the transcript that the college is going to issue you. So if you're doing dual enrollment, you might want to talk to your counselor and double check as to what that course is going to appear like on the college's transcript, not just your high school's transcript. And you'll kind of just keep doing the same process for as many college courses, dual enrollment courses, things of that nature. If you have them going right now or for next term, you can see here that in progress and planned is an option. You'll select all the items and then the grade section is blanked out, so you can't put a grade yet since you don't have it. Like you see here, make sure that transferable box is selected, click save, and then once you're done, you can navigate back to your college coursework tile, confirm that everything looks complete, answer that you're done yes, and hit save. And you can always go back later if you need to make changes. And then you can continue on to the next section. Next is the standardized test section. As you have probably heard, all CSU campuses are test blind for fall 2022, meaning you won't be able to consider ACT or SAT scores even if you have them. But if you are using an AP score to meet a minimum requirement, this section will be necessary. For transfers, this blurb here is only referring to lower division transfers, which we do not admit. If you do not have any test scores to enter and this section doesn't apply to you, simply click here. I'm not adding any standardized tests. But if it does, let's do a quick example to show how to enter in a test score for those of you who this does apply to. So we'll click Add Test Score, select which AP exam you took, yes or no on if it's been taken or not, and select the date. Just as an FYI, we don't need you to enter in future test dates that have not been taken. We're really only concerned with the ones who have been taken. Select your score, save this test, and it'll bring you back to the main tile. If you want to add more scores, that button is down at the bottom for Add a Standardized Test, and it'll let you select which test you want to add from there, and then the same screen again. But if not, you can go back, and then you're done with the section. The next page that first-time freshman applicants will see is the A through G matching tile. In my opinion, this is one of the most important pages in the entire application. It decides what you do and do not get credit for in terms of your GPA, semesters, etc. To update it, you hit Update A through G Courses, A lot of these are going to auto-populate in. I filled in a lot of my other ones as well. You can see that each course corresponds to one of the subject areas in the box. For those that don't fill in, like college courses, you'll need to manually enter those in. You want to make sure that you click out every single section here to make sure all courses have an A through G designation assigned to them, or else you will not get credit for that course in our process. If you're not sure which A through G designation your course should have, please use UC Doorways as your resource. Once you've updated it, you can cross-compare here and see how many years you have versus what's required for the CSU system to make sure you're not missing anything. You can always go back and make changes by hitting the Update A through G Courses button here at the bottom. Also note that the GPA displayed here is not going to be the one that you compete with in our process. We're going to recalculate it ourselves based on our criteria. You can always go back and review, double check your work, click out, make sure everything is there. You should only be entering in your A through G courses, so as a result, everything you see on this page should have an A through G marker assigned to it. If you have any questions about this page, please bring it up during the workshop. We're definitely going to talk about it and spend some time here. Now that we've completed the academic history quadrant, we'll move on to the supporting information quadrant. Please note that this is going to look different for freshman applicants versus transfer applicants. But for the freshman view, when you open it, you'll see these two tiles. You'll begin with some of these educational program questions asking yes or no if you've been involved with them. Next, you'll get to the work information section. So this is where they're going to ask you the average number of hours worked per week over the previous 36 months. I would definitely recommend sitting down at the kitchen table with a parent or supporter and making a giant list of everything that you've done work-wise, paid or unpaid, over the previous 36 months. Add all that up, do your division per week, and then figure out which section of time is best appropriate to select for this option. And then it's going to ask if 25% or more of your work hours are related to the major of choice. So what program you're applying to, simple yes or no. Same question is going to apply for your extracurricular hours, picking your hours. And then if you held a leadership role with any of those activities, class president, team captain, things like that, simple yes or no. And that's it. There is no place to give detail as to what sports you played, if you were in band, where you worked. There's no letters of recommendation. There's no spot to explain or give detail. There's no resumes. There's no transcripts for our domestic students. It's truly just these 4 questions. We get a lot of concerned questions about this. This is what we're going to be able to use. It's very limited and it's very objective, but that's where this information comes from for the application. Once all those questions are answered, hit save and continue and move on to the next section, which is going to be about the EOP program, or Educational Opportunity Program. There are some links here built into the application if you want to read more about it and see if it's something that you're eligible for or interested in. You do need to answer one way or another, so you can either say no and you complete this section, or you can say yes and enter in your information, or you can say yes and come back later to complete this section. This is one of the few sections of the application that will be available and open for editing after you submit it. Now we'll do that third supporting information quadrant as a transfer applicant. So when I enter it as a transfer applicant, I only see the one tile for the EOP program. And it's going to ask me if I'm currently enrolled, yes or no. And then if I wish to apply, simple yes or no. And then you'll review that information and continue on to your next section. And this quadrant is now complete for you as a transfer applicant. The last quadrant is the program materials quadrant. For this section, you'll see every CSU application with a different blue tile. So for our campus, you'll find the Cal Poly undergraduate one. Obviously, we're still in a test environment, so yours won't say test. You'll click on that blue tile, and this first section will be a synopsis of our campus and the program that you've applied to. The next tab, however, will be the questions tab. It will start out with a series of acknowledgments for you to read and select. And then you indicate your applicant level. I'll pretend for this that I'm a freshman applicant. And then it will have questions that pertain to your status. So it's going to make sure that you've double-checked all of your work in that academic history quadrant and you're acknowledging that everything is correct, acknowledging that you understand the rules of middle school coursework and how it can be used for foreign language and math sections. Once you've answered these questions, you would hit Save and Continue, and that will complete this quadrant. Now let's look at that program materials quadrant as a transfer applicant as well. Same situation, if you're applying to multiple CSUs, you'll see them all listed out here. For our campus, you'll find Cal Poly undergraduate in whatever program you apply to. First tab will be the synopsis of our campus and our program. Obviously, this deadline is going to be different. It's just for the test environment. And you will also navigate to that second questions tab. You'll have some of the similar acknowledgments, and then you'll select your level as transfer. And this is where your questions are going to live about work experience and extracurricular activities. Same questions as the freshmen, they just live in a different spot. So kind of like I was saying before, sit down, make a list of all of the work experience that you've done over the past 36 months. Yes or no if it's related to your program of choice. Same question for an extracurricular activity, and then yes or no for the leadership position being held. And then as a transfer student, once you've answered these questions, this quadrant is complete. Please note that if you're applying as an international applicant, these questions are going to live in quadrant 4, whether you're a first-year applicant or a transfer applicant. So it does look a little bit different. Same questions, they're just going to live in quadrant 4. For both freshmen and transfers who are applying from an international school or with an international status. Once you see that all 4 quadrants are fully green and all complete, you are ready to submit your application. You'll click here. On this page, you will see all of the applications that you have filled out for any CSU campus. In reality, you'll be able to hit the Submit button and move through the payment process. If you qualify for a fee waiver, it will automatically be granted to you in the application itself. If not, you'll be prompted to pay the $70 application fee per campus. You might also find when you go to submit that you get different pop-up notifications about potential errors in your application. Please read through them carefully. If you have any questions or concerns, again, this is something you want to reach out to our office about or bring up in the workshop if you've experienced them. But hopefully if you're attending the workshop, you haven't submitted yet so that we're still able to make changes to any potential issues that we encounter. But this is how the submission process will work. After you've submitted, you can always come back and access a PDF download of your application by clicking on this blue symbol here. And that will allow you to check your work and see what data is going to be sent to each school. After you've submitted, I'd recommend going to the Check Status tab here to make sure that your application status does say submitted. If any of them say in progress, you have not completed the submission process. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it allows you to get started with your application and to have your questions prepared prior to the workshop. We look forward to seeing you there.